allegiance.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, please join me in a pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Eric Rowe, would you please do the four-way test?
Fellow Rotarians and guests, please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and fifth.
Is it fun?
Giddy up.
Guest this morning, Nate, do you have a guest?
Yes, I do. I have two guests this morning.
Josh, speak up, Dave.
Good morning. So I have two from South Korea Sound Community College today joining us. We have Shannon Glenn, the alumni and community outreach coordinator. And then I have Kelly Green, the Chief Communications and Legislative Affairs Officer of the college.
Hey.
Michelle, do you have a guest?
I do. I have Skylar Cheney with Lakeside Industries.
Oh, okay.
You should be inducted today.
Hey, Tyler.
And Crystal, you have a guest?
Yes, I have Lacey an interesting fact that she is the candidate they won last night.
Are there any visiting Rotarians that did not sign in? Are there any other guests? All right. Announcements this morning. Megan.
Raise your hand if you saw the post on Gateway Rotary Facebook with Diana Cockrell and Troy Oliver and a student of the month from River Ridge High School. How cool was that?
Yeah.
So big thank you to Diana and Barb who are leading the charge on the student of the month work. Just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Also, the youth services meets on the third Wednesday after our meeting. So please keep that in mind because we're always looking for good people to be on the committee. And we have a lot of people. It's awesome. We always need more. Lori, do you have an announcement?
Yay, Lori.
Yay, Lori! Good morning. Well, we finished our book drive and we collected 1,162 books. Yay! Sadly, Lacey, we were at 2228 and another truckload was coming in. But
Recount.
I have to say, they were so thankful and grateful for the book donations. They said it'll really help them get through the year, and so thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Lori, for giving the Lacey Club a mission.
And come on up, Len. He has an announcement.
To get up
Okay, so here's a follow-up to Monday's email. Now I'm just reading things these days. Per Gateway Rotary's bylaw, the nominating committee is pleased to present the following slate for the club's election of officers at the upcoming annual meeting, held on December 5th. December 5th is? 5th! Great. I had nothing for it, but I figured I'd go with that. At O'Blarney's beginning at 7 a.m. So the slate is President, me, Vice President Amanda Bay, Secretary Barbara Perez, Treasurer Mike Jones, Director at Large Madeline White. This election is for next year's term starting July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020. Please note that the current Vice President, Janine Zell, will automatically move to President-elect at the start of the new term and is therefore not running for a position. Sliding, yes. Other committee chairs will be selected by the President-elect prior to the change of officers banquet held in late June 2019. The nominating committee slate will be the only names listed for the ballot unless someone else decides to challenge for a position. If you decide you want to put your name in to add it to the ballot, please let me know before November 15th, and it'll be added to the December 5th meeting. If we have multiple names on the ballot, they'll be listed alphabetically. 1/3 of the club must be present, so your attendance is requested. And just to clarify if there's any confusion on it, one of the things that I'm looking to do next year, so you know that the way the current bylaws work, only the directors vote. And we have a full board of folks. And there's been a lot of dialogue how we can get more, how we can get voting from everybody, because they're making a lot of key decisions. So that's one of the things that we want to look at for next year, is how we can figure it out, while also keeping kind of the idea and principles that were in existence before with the 8 officers that were voting. So that's something I'm going to be working on this year. But the other idea that we had was to start rotating that director slot between the other chair members, at least to start that process going. But maybe we'll get something going even before the start of the year. Thank you.
All right, Lynn.
Madeline, you have somebody to induct this morning.
I do.
Let's hear it from Madeline.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Would Skylar Cheney and Michelle Rickett please come forward? Look at you. Good. We're glad. So, Skylar Cheney, how many knew him before he came here? Well, you're going to know a lot more now. Skylar is a project manager at Lakeside Industries in Lacey. Lakeside is the largest and best asphalt paving company in the Pacific Northwest. That was a paid political announcement. Skylar has a bachelor's and master's degree in civil engineering from Washington State University. This is the worst. Go Cougs. He is a licensed professional engineer. He has worked in the asphalt industry for 9 years, including research, construction, and consulting. He and his wife, Katie, have been married for 5 years and have a daughter named Cosette, who is almost 2 years old. He does not own a television.
Wow.
That's an interesting fact about him. His dream is to live in a cave and read books all day.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Start like that.
Other than reading, he enjoys hiking, traveling, board games, and any kind of competitive physical activity. His passion is real estate investing. He never thought Rotary Club could be so much fun.
Don't let a pointed instrument near.
Fellow Rotarians, please help me welcome Skylar Cheney.
Yeah.
And then Nate Peters has a Paul Harris to award this morning.
Yay, Peters!
The Paul Harris Fellow Society recognizes individuals who give to the Rotary International Foundation at levels of $1,000 or above. The foundation allows Rotary International to do the amazing things across the world, including eradicating polio. I would like to recognize Judy Suka. Please come forward and receive your certificate of pin.
Skylar
Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris.
All right. There you go.
Well done.
Yeah.
So this morning, our classification speaker is Florence Jones. So put it together for Florence.
Okay, we're gonna see if I can do this. Is this on? There's no light.
Down is up.
Down is up.
Down is up.
Okay. Good morning. So, who's Florence? I am a California girl who met a Wisconsin farm girl. My parents are on the top right. I was born in Dearborn, Michigan, and I was raised in Southern California. Ray and I met when I was a senior in high school, and he had just got back from Germany and was processing out of the Air Force. 4 years later, we got married. We are water people. We love scuba diving and sailing. I was a Boy Scout leader for 6 years, and then I was a Sea Scout leader, so the girls could stay on the ship. And we used to sail a 90-foot yawl out of Tacoma every Thursday night. But then we went to a scuba dive store in Tacoma. Now, we learned a very valuable lesson. If you never want to be able to go scuba diving, and you don't want to have a life, own a business. Down is next. Okay, then I became a mom on Thanksgiving Day of 1983. Trevor has always been in the water, and he enjoyed being the only child for 6 years. And as you can see by his face, he did not like having a sibling. He loves paddleboarding with passion and used to spend all his spare time on the water. He also enjoyed paddleboarding competitions from California to Washington. He met Stephanie, they got married, bought a house, and had Ambrose. Then I was a mom again. Our first daughter, Trevor was 6 years old, and Monica wears her heart on her sleeve. She has all the passion and love for our whole family. She received her bachelor's from the University of Washington before she was 19. She met Tyler at swing dancing down at the Eagles in Olympia. She stole his phone out of his pocket while they were dancing, put her phone number in it, and put it out of his pocket. On December 14th of 2013, they were married, and she had a princess wedding with a harpist playing as she came down the aisle. Natalie's our last child. She is a miracle and a surprise. She rises up to any challenge given to her. She graduated in June from Olympia High School with her high school diploma and her AA. She's debating on a few different career options and finishing up her prerequisites for either ultrasound tech, radiology, MRI, CT, or nuclear medicine. She hasn't quite decided. Then I became a grandma. Ambrose, he came into this world in September of 2016. He is the joy of my life. And I love stopping by and getting hugs from him. I'll call on my way home, is Ambrose still awake? And they're like, yep. And I walk in and go, Grandma's here, and he gets up and just hugs on to me for a while. He gets blonde hair from his grandpa and Trevor. Our family, they learned to drive tractors and to stack wood really early, because that's kind of what we do. The last 10 years of my life, I was spent attending baton competitions. The video, if it'll play. Okay, there it goes. This is a short clip of the halftime at Olympia High School's Halloween 2016 program, and they were playing Thriller. Highlights of the baton were Hawaii, Vegas, Disneyland, and Nationals in Wisconsin. Oh, it's going in slow motion.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, it's just going fast.
It's easy when you go slow.
Yeah, there we go. There was only a 30-second
It's the silver sneakers of baton.
They had 2 days to learn that routine. And then we went to Nationals, where she got first place at the U.S. Nationals for 2 baton. So what do? I volunteer. I've been a part of the Women's Missionary League for 32 years. And also I've been about 3 years here at Gateway Rotary. I narrowed down my volunteering so that I can actually do something there, not spread myself too thin. For fun, I love to attend and present teas, crochet quilt, I'm a certified florist, and I love to spend hours holding and playing with Ambrose. For work, I started with Leaf Filter in June. It's a gutter protection company. We're the #1 in the nation. My office can be anywhere on the Sound, the ocean, overlooking the Columbia Gorge, overlooking the Napa Valley. One day, I'm sitting on a patio and I can see Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Adams, all from the same house. Never know what patio I'm sitting on any day of the week, or what part of the Southwest Washington I'll be in. My first appointments start at 9 a.m., my last ones are at 7 p.m., and I work 6 days a week. I have 7 days off. So I often see some beautiful sunrises and sunsets. From June 1st to October 31st so far, I sold over $650,000 in leaf filter, and I'm number 45 standing in the country in sales for them. On Saturday, the annual mission fair for the Lutheran Women's Missionary League. 100% of our money that we raise is donated to 5 local charities, and that's Florence Tillman.
Thanks so much, Florence. Well, now it is my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today, and that is Frank Addeo. Frank has been trained as a brewer in his hometown of New York City. He's from New York City. Before relocating to Central Washington to pursue a formal education in fermentation science. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, Tom knows all about it.
His research has ranged from hop quality analysis to wild yeast selection. I'm going to talk really slow because they need some time. So, for new beer, wine, and spirit flavors. He continues to collaborate with researchers at the Technical University of Munich, and because Munich, that's Germany, they drink a lot of beer there, and is currently completing his master's in microbiology at Central Washington University. His passion is to inspire interest in fermentation and provide new career opportunities for those seeking a change. Please join me in welcoming Frank Addeo. Technical difficulties have been overcome.
So good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much for inviting me to come here. I'm very pleased to share with you the new program that we have set up. Before we get started with the slides, to talk a little bit about the program, I want to give a little bit of a backstory about how it started. I've come on to the college only since this past March. However, this has been a project that's been worked on by the college, especially from the college president, Dr. Stokes, has been working on this for over 4 years. So the groundwork has largely been laid out. I cannot take credit for a lot of what's been done here. I've just had the opportunity to kind of come on and help to put on some finishing touches. As you're all aware, there's a long history here of brewing culture here in Olympia, and one thing that I've noticed being new to the area is that it does seem like there has been a vacuum that's been left when Olympia Brewery had closed. And what we really want to make sure that we do is kind of a twofold process. We want to create new opportunities and jobs for individuals in the area. We want to bring back those brewing jobs to the area, but we also want to make sure that we support those industries, the brewing, distilling, and cider industries, that can grow and flourish and really kind of do justice to that culture that's still here in the area. So the program that we've set up is an associate's degree in applied science, a 2-year degree at the college, and we've just started this in September this year. Down is up. Yeah. So the inaugural cohort started, as I said, in September. We had to limit the initial cohort to 30 students. We had applications that did exceed that, but we want to make sure that we do right by the cohort and figure everything out in a smaller group. The students range in ages, a rather wide area. So the age requirement is 21. We have quite a few students that are in their 30s, 40s, and older. And one of the things that I was particularly interested in seeing, we specialize, the degree tracks can specialize either in brewing, cider making, or distilling. What I was rather struck by pleasantly was that so many of the students, about a third of them, have an interest in dual specialization. This is something I think is very important, because as the industries continue to grow, we need to continue to innovate, and having individuals that work in these industries that are literate and competent in each of these crafts, which are very distinct from one another, opens up opportunities for new businesses to open up and have a rather wide range of products that can reach the market. So about a third of them are looking to do this. The educational model that we're using is not a traditional model where students come for 4 or 5 days a week in the classroom. We have it set up as a hybrid, so weekly lectures are done online, and students get together 3 weekends per quarter, which comes out to about once a month, where we get together and focus on going to site visits, working on trade practice, on craft training, as well as lab work. So the site visits so far that we've gone to, we headed out in the September visit. We went out to Yakima Valley to visit during the hop harvest, to visit hop farms, go to the processing plants as well, so that students can get an idea of how ingredients are processed upstream from breweries. We'll be doing that also for grain handling. We'll go to craft maltsters up in Skagit Valley that are supporting value-added agriculture for a lot of the farmers there. We'd love to see that activity move down to Thurston County, and we are starting to lay the initial groundwork for that. But for the time being, we want to make sure that the students are very well aware of how the ingredients got to their brewery or distillery, especially also to understand what good quality ingredients are so that they can make good quality products. So aside from Yakima Valley, we'll visit some equipment fabricators as well. We'll visit a yeast lab down in Portland, and as well as the canning facility that's local here in Olympia. So our new facility, which we're very excited about, will be starting construction in the not too distant future. We'll be locating the craft brewing program, which is currently located on the Olympia campus. We are going to move it to our new Tumwater facility, which will be located right near the old Olympia Brewery on Capitol Boulevard. And it's a part of a larger project of the Innovation Partnership Zone of creating a craft brewing and distilling district that can attract businesses to come to the area, and we want to make sure that we're positioned as kind of a keystone in this larger development project. Our portion of the facility, which we'll be sharing with Heritage Distilling, our portion of the facility will include classrooms, which can also be used as event spaces. We'll have laboratories as well for chemistry and biology, which is becoming increasingly important for industry professionals, as well as an operating commercial floor that students will be able to be trained on commercial equipment, packaging equipment as well, so that when the students leave to go out into their internships and their jobs in the industry, they've had a hand in practice, and not just with recipe development and product development and label design for, in terms of the practice on that end, but also have a really strong command of the equipment and the process itself. So the way that we're envisioning right now the craft brewing and distilling operations, kind of looking at it as like a three-legged stool. Right? We have the educational component, where we're going to be focusing on training young and older professionals to come and either make a career change or start a new career in the industry, and really kind of buttress those businesses that exist now, but as well support new ones that will continue to develop. The other portion too, and this is where we want to really try to support the local industry, is to provide consulting for those professionals. What the craft brewing industry is starting to notice now as it continues to grow, and businesses are looking to sell their product further away, issues with quality control become more and more apparent. If you sell a beer from your tap room, you may not pick up on some of those contamination issues or oxygen that will create off flavors in those beers, but when you put it in a can and it sits on a truck at 90 degrees for a week, people will notice it when it gets out to Colorado or to California or to the East Coast. And that's not very good for marketing for that business. So breweries and cideries are especially, but also distilleries are realizing that quality control is becoming a very important component. Our laboratories, we would like to open up our laboratories to provide services for these industry professionals to make sure that their products are of good quality, so that they're not going to be hurt in the long run as they grow. The final component too is that the students will be working on in this area with commercial equipment, so they will be working on how to make good quality craft products. So as far as the educational component is concerned, this is kind of a grouping of the business science raw ingredients series that the students will be taking. All the students, whether they're doing distilling or cider making or brewing, will be taking a lot of these foundational courses together. And part of that, the reason why we want to make sure that's the case is for a long time with the craft industries, there hasn't been a lot of good communication between distillers and brewers and cider makers. And what ends up happening is everyone kind of gets boxed in their industry, where they only know other brewers. If they're brewers, they only know other brewers. They don't know the process and challenges for cider making and distilling. And it doesn't help all of the industries as a whole. We all need to start seeing one another as working in the same area. And so it's important for everyone to have a good foundational understanding of all of these crafts when they leave the program. This is also important too, because though some students may be interested in leaving to become distillers, if they're only brewing jobs, it doesn't do them much good if they focus just on distilling. We want to make sure that we maximize employment opportunities for our graduates. There is also an internship component to the end here too, and this is also an area where the local industry is very excited to bring on new potential talent to the area. As I speak with local producers in the area, with some of the common concerns that they seem to have is bringing in a trained workforce to the area to really reinforce and support their growth as they move ahead. On the consulting end, as I mentioned, providing that quality assurance for the breweries, cideries, and distilleries. But we're also going to help with is product development as well. So as there become new kinds of ingredients, new kinds of hops, new kinds of malts, it becomes very expensive for a production house to try to do their own research. So if we can do some work on a new kind of malt or a new kind of hop and provide that information of different kinds of notes that you get from that hop, or color that you get from a certain kind of malt, or the mouthfeel that you get from that malt, if we can provide some of that information for new ingredients, that supports those local farmers that are going out on a limb to create those new ingredients. It also supports the local businesses because they can start creating novel products from those ingredients. This is a great way for us to make sure that we help and really kind of move along this process as we develop. And finally, on the production end, so we will have commercial equipment. We will be focusing on bringing in professionals internationally from, as well as nationally. What I'm very happy to bring on is a brewer that I know from my work in Germany, specializes in Bavarian Hefeweizen. So what I'd love to have him is be one of the early guest brewers that will come out and work in our facility and show the students a very traditional, centuries-old process in Germany, which is rarely used. We make German Hefeweizens in the U.S., but not in a particular method that the Germans do. And so we want to bring out a professional that's been trained out there and give the students the opportunity to kind of see what each of these specialists in different areas are doing. A part of that too is that we will be doing video documentation of these processes. So if we have somebody that comes out who does a Japanese style whiskey compared to a Scotch whiskey, we will have this all video documented through the process of that creation of that product, so that future students who maybe weren't present for one of those guest speakers, if they do want to make a German Hefeweizen 5 years from now, they can draw it from the library, find the individual that came out, look through their process. They'll show the ingredients on the whiteboard, describe the process and why they do their process as they do, so people can take that information, reproduce it, or adapt it to what their interests and needs are. And finally, as well, the one thing in terms that we will also be working on is putting in low environmental impact technology to the facility. This is something that isn't really being done in a lot of breweries right now. There are a handful, they tend to be rather large, that are doing it. But what is happening right now with a lot of, especially the wastewater processing plants, they're getting overrun by the organic matter that's being sent down the drain. And so what is going to start to happen, and is already happening in other parts of the country, is that breweries are going to have to start implementing these technologies into their facilities in order to help reduce some of the demand that comes on public utilities. So this will include CO2 recovery from the fermentation process, using oxygen from the air as a sanitary process called ozonation rather than using chemicals for sanitation. So there are a number of things that we can do that will cut down our water usage as well as reduce what goes down the drain to our wastewater processing plants. And this is what we really want to make sure is that we have a facility that doesn't just meet the standards of a brewery and a distillery now, but we really want to kind of showcase where the industry is going to be in 5 or 10 years and really kind of be positioned as a leader and demonstrating and showcasing these technologies. And I wanted to just throw up a slide here of our many partners and that I'd like to thank that have been working on this. As I said, a lot of this groundwork has been laid long before I came on, and so I cannot, certainly cannot take credit for this. So I really want to make sure that I give the thanks where thanks is due. I'd like to open everything up here for questions.
So is there some confusion when you call your thing CBD?
Yeah. So it's CBD, craft brewing and distilling.
Yes.
Yes. There hasn't been confusion yet, but I'll take that into consideration in future slides.
Maybe just change it to CDB or craft distilling and brewing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please.
Will there be tastings for the public or retail sales?
There will be tastings for the public. We are still in the process of deciding what the retail option and presence will be. Certainly that will be news that we may have in the near future. Yeah. It's in the back.
We have an event called Rock Bands. Would you guys be willing to bring some stuff out for tastings at that type of event? It's next September 8th.
Next September 8th.
A demo table would be really cool. It would be great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we our new facility will not be up in that period of time, but certainly we are discussing possible setups of small pilot systems. So if we do get that going, that is something that we may be able to do. So I'd love to stay in communication with you about that as we get into the summer, and I'll be able to determine whether or not we can do that.
That sounded like a yes, thanks.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Does any of your future site include the old brewery site?
So we're not exactly on the property, or not necessarily a part of the one of the buildings for the new brewery, but we are on Capitol, right near where the delivery section was, the delivery area, the train yard.
On your presentation, I didn't see anything about business development when it comes to, if you're going to put a brewery, if you're going to help these students do research as far as how to know where to put stuff like that, as far as a business or brewery. If you can put it anywhere and be a great product and stuff like that. When you're in an area that doesn't need that, it's going to be nothing. Okay, so I didn't see anything in that presentation about that aspect as far as business.
So so if I get what you're saying, so in terms of our positioning locally or training for students to understand,
Training them to help them know what to create a business and where to put it.
Right. So we do have a business series that students are working on one of those courses right now, which is business startup, and one key component of that class is understanding how to position yourself in the market, and certainly location for your business is a rather large part of that conversation. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What's the status of the craft brewery building right there off Capitol Boulevard? I know the site has been cleared. What's the timeline for construction, future tenants, and things like that?
Yes. I know we're hoping to. There have been a number of delays. We're hoping to get started with construction very soon. I'm told that what we will have is access to the shell and core for build out next fall, and then there'll be a 2 to 3 month period where we'll be focusing on the internal build out of that facility. We are phase 1 of the larger craft district project. And so once our facility is constructed, they'll be moving on to other facilities. Unfortunately, until all leases are signed, we're not going to be able to share what some of those new tenants are, but I can say that there are some very exciting prospects that we'll be bringing to the area.
Do you need new furniture for that building?
That's the
I'm happy to speak with you afterwards.
Sounds like a yes.
Yes, please.
How would you characterize local ingredients compared to other nearby regions?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I did speak with a couple people here before our event this morning, and hops were discussed a number of times. The Tacoma area was a major center for hop production in Washington quite a ways back, and there are a number of farmers in the area that are looking to start bringing some of that hop production back to the area. The local extension here in Thurston County has been working with farmers they're working on their second year of barley trials of new barley varieties that grow specifically well in Thurston County. So what we are starting to do is look to these initial growers and figure out how we can support them so that they can move ahead and start creating new varieties that have particular flavors and aromas from the terroir here in Thurston County.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So moving on to the very fine part of our meeting, we've got our very own Sergeant at Arms, Jim Mack.